What's going on, guys? I'm the Filmmaker and I love movies, and of course it's that time of the year. We're going to be doing the top 10 worst and best films of the year. Now, many movie reviewers do their top 10 best movies video first and then their top 10 worst films last. Well, that's one of your last videos of the year and it's quite a negative one. So I like to end on a high note. So we're going to be doing our worst movies in this video. The next video is going to be the top 10 best films, and then the next video is going to be looking back on 2019, looking back at what's happened, and we're going to be doing a Q&A on that video as well. So if you've got any questions, they will all be answered in the Q&A, so just leave them down below. Right, so I've got the list up here for us, so we can get started straight away. At number 10, the 10th worst film of the year, Men in Black International. Men in Black International was just... it was just a poor film. It was bad. It was really, really bad. I really hated it. Just, I don't remember much from it because it was predictable, annoying, forgettable piece of garbage. The CGI is tragically terrible. The comedy is painfully flat. It was made for kids. It inspires nothing from the original Men in Black movies. It's got no references whatsoever to those movies. It just feels like they're trying to revive the franchise, but of course Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones are out of there. So then they grab in Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, the duo from Thor Ragnarok. Hopefully that will boost the box office. Sorry, it doesn't. Sorry, it's rubbish. Sorry, don't watch it. Number 9. Guys, I think you firmly know my opinion on this film. And I wish it was in the top 10 best films of the year. But it's not. It's the 9th worst film of the year. Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. I know many people actually enjoyed this movie, and I'm actually quite jealous that you enjoyed this film. But yeah, I don't have much to say, actually. I've got little to nothing to say because you know my opinion. If you don't, the review's up there. I've done a spoiler review as well. I could talk about this film for ages, but I just don't want to anymore. I don't want to. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth when I talk about it. Yeah, you know my opinion on this movie. It's rushed. It feels like it's just came out of left field. It's mess. It's just a big fat mess. Don't want to talk about it. It's just a mess. Number 8. Talking about messy, rubbish, odd films, we've got Velvet Buzzsaw, a movie that I was really looking forward to. It's done by Dan Gilroy, who did the masterpiece that is Nightcrawler. Then he followed up with a movie called Roman J. Israel. Really mediocre movie, not worth watching at all. And this movie is just bizarre. It's bizarre. The same guy who made Nightcrawler made this film. It's just bizarre how odd it is, how rubbish it is, how you've got a fantastic cast. Toni Collette, I mean, come on. Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, it doesn't feel natural at all. It just feels weird. It feels abrupt. It feels goofy. The deaths are so stupid in this movie. Like, these people get killed in weird art ways because it's all about art and things. And then this one person who's like Nancy in Stranger Things, she witnesses all of them and she gives off the same annoying, stupid, obnoxious scream. I was really disappointed with this movie. Again, it's on Netflix. It's dumped on Netflix. Obviously the studio thought, we'll just dump it here because it's rubbish. Now Netflix has got the horrible burden of that film just looming over it. Don't watch this movie. Watch Nightcrawler, which is done masterfully by Dan Gilroy. I don't know what happened. He obviously cannot find his mojo again because he's just been making rubbish films ever since that. Number 7. A movie called Cher. Now, I believe this was a TV movie, HBO thing. Yeah, this movie was really flat. Like, I don't know if any music was involved whatsoever with this film. It was boring. The one thing a filmmaker needs to do is to entertain. That's what movies are made for, to entertain. They're a business to entertain. This movie failed to do so. I was bored out of my mind. It had some interesting subject matter with like, this girl goes to a party, she doesn't know what happens, she wakes up, there's photos of her, bruises, she doesn't know what's going on. It could have been so much more dramatic, suspenseful, but it wasn't. It was flat, it was boring, it was just, again, not good. I mean, you know, it's the worst film of the year. You know, the performances were just so good. We got these young people, and I mean, the trailer made it look, you know, high energy tension, but it was gone. It was gone completely with this movie. It was non-existent. I don't understand what the filmmakers were thinking when they were making this film. What was their intention? What was their vision? It was non-existent. 6. Let It Snow, the dumbest film I've seen all year. Teenage girls are going to eat this film up. They're going to love it. I mean, it's a romantic movie, but it's so stupid. The opening bit is this lady doing a voiceover talking about snow, how it brings us together. I mean, it's the dumbest rubbish I've seen all year round. I mean, they've got separate love stories happening across, this city, this town, wherever it is, and they try and link it together. But I just hated it. It was so bland. I don't even remember what happens. Like, it was trying to be funny. It was trying to appeal to teenagers. There was a big party. They try and incorporate some LGBT stuff in there, and I hate romances. This is the worst genre ever, and I've seen some good romance films, some fantastic romance films. Midnight in Paris, you know, to name that one, and this one just, again, it's stupid. Many of these films on this list are so stupid and rushed, like the filmmakers didn't know what they were thinking, or they were trying to get a vision across, a message across, but it just went. 5. Rim of the World. You can also find this movie on Netflix. This is directed by MCG. I've hated all of his films. Babysitter was the worst film of 2017. What else did he do? He did another film. I can't even remember that movie. It was a really bad film though. I'll put an image on here. So going into this movie, I was, you know, I don't like his films. I don't like him as a filmmaker. He's one of the worst film directors I've ever seen. So I go in, I'm thinking, will he entertain me? Will he do something that will redeem him from his sins of making these terrible movies? But no. Why would I expect that? It's MCG. MCG. Obviously he's got a longer name, but he's credited as MCG. God, this movie. It was trying to be a big blockbuster on Netflix, so it's full of terrible CGI, annoying characters, really stereotypical characters we see in all these types of kid films, these movies where kids join together to defeat the government or some bad aliens. I mean, oh my god, the visual effects of this movie are so bad, the acting is rubbish, it's just... That's it, I'm out, I'm done, I am done. Number 4! Serenity. This movie was trying to be really artsy. It was trying to be like the big art film, the big twist. Came off as really stupid, pretentious, obnoxious rubbish. It was just so bad. They try and pull you with this magnificent big twist at the end. Whoa, your mind is blown. No, well yeah, it's blown. It is blown out of proportion. I mean, that's what the movie is. It's blown out of just complete and utter trash. It's just, don't watch, again, none of these films you should watch. Maybe Rise of Skywalker if you know, a fan of Star Wars. But none of these other movies, don't even go near them. Especially this film. Your time's gonna be wasted. The twist at the end is it's not worth seeing. It just doesn't feel normal. Doesn't feel like it's been earned at all. Number 3! The Fanatic. The funniest film of the year. This has got John Travolta in as this weird, crazy, mentally crazy guy. This film is just... It was meant to be taken seriously, but my god, it's hilarious. John Travolta plays this guy who's a fanatic on films and things. Kind of like someone I know. And he's so excited because he's gonna see his film star hero, and he becomes obsessed with him, and he breaks into his house, and then guys, I actually would tell you to watch this film just for your enjoyment, just to laugh at this. It's John Travolta tries to give some, I don't know what he was going for. Watch Chris Stuckman's review on the film, because then it makes it even more funny. He does like a really hilariosity type video on it. Just, yeah. It's funny, but it's, again, shockingly bad. Number 2! Hellboy. The one good thing about this movie was David Harbour as Hellboy. And I actually put in my Letterboxd review of this movie that this is the first ever film, because I watched this before I watched The Fanatic, which I laughed out loud at how bad it was. How the filmmakers were going for something really serious, but I laughed out loud, and it wasn't meant to be a funny moment in the film. That's never a good sign for a filmmaker. Never a good sign at all. This movie's going on Netflix soon, Netflix UK. So I'd suggest you stay well clear from this film. It's an abomination of a film. Don't go near it. It's just really poorly made. There's some really poor decisions. It just feels so much, you know what I mean? It feels too much. It feels like it's going there, like really going to this one awesome spot of coolness. I was looking forward to the film, but it just goes for like Marvel comedy, like a goofy Marvel film like Ant-Man and the Wasp, but then it wants to go for like a medieval kind of aspect, and then it wants to go for like a gory, you know, pulling no punches film, but it doesn't do that. It blends in to a big fat disgusting mess. Number 1, the worst film of the year, Domino. Now, many of you might not have heard of this film, Domino, and it's directed by none other than Brian De Palma. He made Mission Impossible, The Untouchables, for crying out loud, Carrie, the original Carrie. This guy is, you know, a Hollywood legend. He's made so many great films. He's known throughout Hollywood, and his latest film, Domino. Now, this film has some very touchy subject matter. It's basically about, they're trying to track down an ISIS member, and they actually show us a terrorist attack done by ISIS at a film festival. It's disgusting how they film it. It's filmed as a POV shot, which it's the point of view of the person committing it, and it's horrendous. It really is. It's disgusting. They've got like so it's not a real gun he's using, a visual cartoon gun that he's using, and it's just poor. It's just, I can't believe they went there. And not to mention that it looks like the cheapest movie ever made. The lighting is so flat, and it's just so cheap. The visuals, the acting, everything's so low energy and flat. I mean, you've got Guy Pearce in here, you've got the guy from Game of Thrones, 2 Game of Thrones actors actually, and it's so rubbish. Like, the direction there's no direction at all. I mean, it's not like half a star bad, it's not like a 0.5, 0.1 out of 5 bad. It's a suspenseful moment at the end which hooked me, because Brian De Palma's good at suspenseful moments, but I don't understand what was happening, what was going on, what was going through the mind of Brian De Palma when he was making this film. It's just, so there it is, guys. That's my top 10 worst films of the year. That was painful. That was really painful. So yeah, they're my top 10 worst films of the year. I actually haven't seen Cats, and if I ever do see Cats, it might make its way down here, so If you want to see this list, if you want to see my top 10 list early, just go down in the description below and go to the letterbox link of my list of every film from 2019 ranked, or all the films that I've seen. I've seen about 114. Follow me on Letterboxd, it's a great app, you should go and get it. Thank you for watching my top 10 worst films of the year, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.